Hey, welcome. You know that feeling when you use a word in English and it just feels a little off? Yeah, you are not alone. English is just full of these little traps, right? Words that look and sound super similar but mean completely different things. And hey, even advanced speakers fall for them. So today, we're going to build a little toolkit to help you spot and, more importantly, avoid 4 of the most common ones. So, to get us started, let's just dive right into a classic point of confusion. Okay, I'm about to show you 2 sentences. One uses the word until, the other uses by. Now, at first glance, they seem like they do the same job, don't they? But trust me, the difference is huge, and getting this right is a major step towards sounding that much more natural and precise when you speak. Okay, here they are. I studied until 7 p.m., and I will finish my essay by February. See, both sentences are about time. And that's exactly why they get mixed up so often. But here's the thing. They describe time in 2 totally different ways. So let's break down what's really going on here. Okay, this is the key right here. This isn't really about grammar rules or prepositions. It's about 2 different ways of thinking about time. We're talking deadlines versus duration. Once you get which word does which job, I promise you'll never mix them up again. All right, let's tackle until first. I want you to think of until like a progress bar on a computer. It's all about a continuous action that keeps going, and then stops at a specific time. So in that sentence, I studied until 7 p.m., the studying was happening the whole time, right up to 7 p.m. And then, bam, it stopped. The one word you need to remember for until is duration. Okay, now for by. If until is that long progress bar, by is the finish line. It's not about the continuous action. It's all about that single final moment. When you say you need to finish your essay by February, you could do it in December, you could do it in January, but February is the absolute final cutoff. So the one word for by? Deadline. Simple as that. So let's lock this in one last time. Over here on the left, you've got until. That's for those ongoing actions that fill up time. Think working, waiting, studying. And on the right, you've got by. That's for a single event with a hard stop, like turning something in or getting somewhere. Duration versus deadline. That is the whole game right there. All right, you ready for trap number 2? Oh man, this one gets everybody. I'm talking native speakers, everyone. We're talking about 2 words that sound exactly the same, but they're spelled differently and do completely different things in a sentence. You guessed it, it's past versus past. Okay, here is the absolute simplest way to remember this, and it works every time. If you need an action word, a verb, you are always going to use past, the one with the ed. For everything else, like talking about time, in the past, or giving directions, go past the store, you use past, the one with the t. It really just boils down to this. One is for action, the other is not. So let's look at past, the verb in action. It's always about some kind of movement or change. I passed the mall. That's physical movement. My headache has passed. The pain moved on. It went away. And my personal favorite, I passed my test. I successfully moved on from that challenge. See what I mean? It's always about an action or a transition. And if you want just one sentence to lock this in your memory forever, this is the one. Check this out. I passed my test by studying past tests. Boom. The first one, past, is the action, the verb of succeeding. The second one, past, is describing the tests, the ones from a time before now. That one sentence has the whole lesson in it. Okay, our third trap is a little different. We're moving away from words that sound the same to words that just look really similar and are super easy to mix up. Now, this one's subtle, for sure, but getting it wrong can make your sentences just sound a little unnatural. We're talking about most versus almost. Probably the easiest way to think about this is with percentages. So all is easy, right? That's 100%. Almost all is so close to 100%. Think like 99%. It's nearly everything. Then you have most. Now, most is still a really big chunk, but it's a little less. Think somewhere between 80 and 99%. This little chart is a great mental shortcut to have. But beyond just the meaning, the real difference is the job they do grammatically. Most is an adjective. Its job is to describe a noun, a thing, like most people or most dogs. Almost, on the other hand, is an adverb. It describes a verb or an adjective. It tells you how close you are to something. Think almost finished or almost ready. The bottom line is, you just can't swap them. And this right here is where people get tripped up all the time. You can absolutely say most teachers, because most is describing the noun teachers. But you can't say almost teachers. It just doesn't work. Almost needs something else to latch onto. Now you could say almost all teachers. That works, but you can never ever have almost right before a noun like that by itself. Okay, time for our fourth and final trap. And for this one, we're going to shift gears a bit. We're moving from single words to whole phrases. This isn't so much about avoiding a mistake as it is about adding some new tools to your conversation toolbox. Tools that are going to make you sound so much smoother and more natural when you speak. We're going to look at 3 powerhouse phrases, and each one has a very specific job. I like to think of them as traffic signals for your conversation. They tell the person you're talking to exactly what's coming next, whether you're about to give your opinion, switch topics, or get back to what you were saying. First up, we have, if you ask me. This is just the perfect, polite way to signal that you're about to share your personal opinion. And the best part? Nobody actually has to ask you. It's just a great way to say, hey, here's what I think. Like, if you ask me, Wolverine is the best superhero, period. Next up is, speaking of. Oh, this is your secret weapon for making conversations flow beautifully. You basically grab a keyword from whatever was just said and use it as a bridge to a new related idea. So, sticking with our example, speaking of Wolverine, did you know he's actually Canadian? See how smooth that is? It just keeps everything connected. And finally, the lifesaver. As I was saying, this one is absolutely essential because, well, real life is full of interruptions, right? Your phone goes off, the dog starts barking, whatever it is. When you want to get back to your original point, you just say, anyway, as I was saying, and boom, you're right back on track. No awkward pause needed. So that's it. That's your brand new grammar trap toolkit. So now you know that until is for duration and by is for a deadline. You know that past with an ed is always your action verb. You'll remember that most describes nouns and almost shows you're getting close to something. And on top of all that, you've got those key phrases to guide your conversations like a total pro. So there we have it, 4 really common traps, and more importantly, the simple ways to get around them. Now, the real magic happens when you actually start using this stuff. So my question for you is, now that you can spot these traps, which part of your English are you going to work on improving first? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer.